Welcome to 5 simple steps that will take your marriage from ho hum to holy moly. Now, I know you're saying, my marriage is not ho hum, my marriage is perfect. Well, denial does get us in trouble. And if you've been married for many years, or maybe even only a couple of years, there are those up times and there are those down times. There's those times when everything is so sweet, it's so awesome. And then there's times when there's stress in life. There's things going on. There's people putting their nose in your business. There's stuff going on that causes trouble. And so every single marriage that lasts for many years or lasts a lifetime has its ups and downs. They have their ho hum time and they have that holy moly time. So today I'm going to take you through 5 different areas. I'm going to bring you through 3 areas that bring a little bit of awareness, maybe the things you haven't thought of that could be causing you trouble. And then in the last 2, I'm going to share ways to move you forward, because you can't do all things, but you can do something. One day I was sitting out in the sunshine. I had decided, to go out and just enjoy a little sun. Who enjoys sunshine? Well, if I can just take 15 or 20 minutes, read a book, sit in the sunshine, it's like I just reabsorb that energy from the sun. That stress just starts to melt off. And so on this day, either spring or fall, that's my favorite time to sit outside. I decided to go sit outside and read a book. So I went out there, and as I looked at my deck, the sunshine was on certain areas of the deck and not on certain areas. So I took my chair, like I always do, actually, and moved it into the sunshine, comfortably sat down, started reading my book. And, then I started to know the shadows were coming upon me. So, I'd scoot my chair back a little bit so that I could be in the sunshine. Then I started reading again and again. The shadows, the coolness of the sun going off my chair would come on me. And so I would scoot my chair back a little bit more. Well, I did that quite a few times. I scooted it back a little further and a little further and a little further, comfortably reading my book. And just to say, my deck has stairs that go down to the yard. My back was to the stairs. I wasn't paying attention to that. And as I scooted just one more time, my chair flipped me over, threw me on the ground, face first, onto the sidewalk. And here in Georgia, that red dirt that was not sidewalk. And actually, I was thankful for that red dirt, because my head hit the red dirt, and it hit that red dirt so hard that I didn't notice anything else in my body that hurt. And the sidewalk was there too. So you can imagine, if I would have hit the sidewalk, I would have busted my head, and nobody was home. So I hit that dirt so very hard, and my head hurt so bad, it just about knocked me out. And when I finally did get up, I realized I had a giant cherry on my leg where the skin was just skinned off. I have no idea how that happened. And that's because sometimes when something surprisingly happens like that, we can't even recollect it in our head. We can't even relive all the moments of snap. And it happened. All I knew was my head hurt. I'm face first in the dirt. And when I get up, I have a cherry on my leg, and I feel like I just about been knocked out. All from sitting and relaxing in the sunshine, moving into that sun a little bit at a time. And I tell you this because sometimes marriage can be like that. We are so busy, we get stressed, we get busy with our families and other activities, day in, day out, go, 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 that we're not paying attention to the little things. That little tiny move that suddenly threw me off that deck and onto my face. And that's what happens in way too many marriages. Way too many marriages. And by being aware and acknowledging, then you can take action. and you can have a better marriage. So now I want you to think big, think past your problems, and I want you to connect with me as we go through some things that will help you understand and see how you can do just that. All right, so first of all, we get married. You know, you see on Facebook all those proposals. It might just be a snapshot or it might be a video of somebody asking somebody to marry them. It's that glorious moment you've been dating, you're in love, and you get married. All right, so you fall in love, you're attracted to one another, and you get married, and then reality hits. Work, house cleaning, clothes, stress, responsibility. Uh-oh. And then let's come again. Sometimes you get married and you are like, what have I done? This person is not the person I married. And so often we just brush those things under the rug. But guess what? If you will be aware of them and admit there might be challenges, then maybe you can take some kind of action to help your marriage work into a marriage that works for a lifetime. But if you don't pay attention to those things, then eventually you may just get flipped over on your face. So here's where we're going today. I'm going to share with you in the first step how you can live in the now. This is probably something you haven't even thought of. I'm going to share that with you and help you move forward from that. The second thing is personality styles. We don't think about this. You know, when we're dating, we bring our best personality style, right? Because we're trying to impress the person that we're dating. Then the third thing is a roadmap to happily ever after. Do you think about where you want to go? Where do you want to go? And then the fourth thing is I'm going to share with you the 5 love languages and help you find your love language. And then you can also think about your spouse. But first, you got to think about yourself and then think about your spouse. And then in the 5th area, I'm going to show you something that you can bank on that will help you now. Because, you know, you can't do everything, but you can do one thing. And this is the one thing I want you to do when we finish today. And it will start to make a difference in your relationship. Also on email, you will receive the worksheets so that you can sit down with your spouse, because they're probably not watching this, and work through a few things and begin to think about your relationship and pay attention. Well, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Connie Durham. My business is Connie's Clever Concepts, and it's named that because one concept can change your life. One thing can change your life. I've been married over 35 years to the handsome man you see there. His name is Jeff. We have 3 grown kids and they all have families. Now, let me say, everything doesn't work out perfectly and with my kids either. They've had challenges, and that has helped me move forward in helping you today. Life has its ups and downs, and I found that I certainly learned more when I was in a down, when things were troubled and challenging. I've learned so very much, and that is what I bring to you. I'm a John Maxwell speaker. I have 21 years of leadership with Mary Kay Cosmetics, actually, as a sales director, and helping women build their businesses and move forward. And I've been able to apply that in every area of this business, because how you think makes a difference not only at home for you, but it makes a difference in how you approach things at work, how you approach your family, how you approach life. Now, my John Maxwell, I'm certified in how to communicate with people. And that means learning more about personality styles and how they affect our relationships, because we are who we are, right? I taught ballet for 20 years. Now, don't add all these up because I'm not quite that old. When you start adding up all the years of experience, sometimes they overlapped. But I taught ballet for 20 years and I danced for those since I was 6 years old, but I taught for 20 years and I loved teaching. I'm a vocal major. I love art, outdoors, reading. So I just want you to know I'm a real person, and I've had those real challenges, but I've had a lot of sweet things in life because God's been good to me. I've tried to have good values, treat people well, and all of those kind of things. And so I feel like God's been good to me. Now, sometimes, we're born into a family and there's challenges and we didn't get to choose that. But that's what I want to help you work through so that you can get past the challenges of life and so that you can have your best life, you can have your best marriage. Now, it does take two people, but it starts with one person, and that's you. So let's talk about the first step, and that is bringing the past into the future. What I have found is that so many people bring their past into their future. Of course you do. That's all you know, right? What we've been taught is all we know. I'm going to say that again. What you've been taught, how to treat people, your work ethic, your beliefs, that's all you know. And so whatever we have experienced through childhood, through our teen years, maybe some rebellious teen years, through our young adult life, that's what we bring into our marriage. Choose to or not choose to. You are who you are, right? So I want you to think about your past. Are there any things in your past that you don't like? Most always there's some things like our parents did, but we're like, I don't really like that. But guess what? So very often we say, I'll never do that with my kids. And the next thing you know, yeah, you're doing it with your kids because it's a parent thing. But sometimes there's things deeper than that, not just how you were reared. But, if our parents had some big challenges in life, frustrations, anger, bitterness, then they bring that into their marriage. And they bring that into raising you. And then you take that, and if you're not careful, you bring that same frustration and resentment into your marriage. And maybe you bring it into raising your kids. But I always go back to love. Love first, discipline second, right? All right, so I'm getting off on the family thing there. But are there some things in your past, and it might have been alcoholism. Maybe you were raised by one parent and that was tough not to have two parents. Whatever it is, be aware of it. Think about it. Get help by a counselor if you need that, because that will feed into your future. That will feed into your marriage, and it can make it or break it. So think about what you like about your past and think about what you want to leave behind. What would you leave behind? What are you like, I would never want my family to have to go through that. I wouldn't ever want my kids to go through that. All right. Think about, when you were a kid and how did you learn to treat others? I like to say often, if you run into a bully, often if you look at home, there's a bully at home because they learned it somewhere. Probably somebody bullied them. It could be a big brother, somebody bullied them and then they turn around and bully someone else. That's called pass the buck, right? If you're a troubled teen, you want to think about those things and you want to leave those behind. Now, this is a page out of a book and it's called Walk the Talk. The book is called Walk the Talk. I love affirmations. I love quotes from wise people because, what we put in our head is what we put out. So if I listen to great things and good things, it helps me put out great things and good things to people. If I listen to music that has hateful words and hateful music and it just talks about bitterness and anger and frustration, then that's what I put out to people. Have you ever heard of that thing, the 5 people that you hang around with most is how you are? Whoever I hang around with most, they definitely have an impact on me. And I'm going to pick up some of their habits. I remember my daughter when she was a teenager, she had a friend who always said, "Hey, dude, what are you doing over there? Hey, dude." And she said that to me. "Hey, dude." I'm like, "I'm not your dude. I'm not a dude even. What do you call me that for?" I know there's like certain little things through all the years that people say, but whoever you hang around with, if they cuss and all that, you're going to pick up words too. If they talk down to people, you're going to talk down to people. If they lift people up, and they love people, you're going to be loving on people. What do you want? So recognize the inherent worth of all human beings. And that's the first thing. And first thing is you. It's you. How do you feel about yourself? Often we transfer how we feel about ourselves or our own challenges into our spouse. So you want to recognize those things. You want to eliminate derogatory words and phrases from your vocabulary. So stop and think now. Do I talk down to people? Do I talk down to my spouse? Do I use derogatory words? Stinking thinking is what I call that. And phrases, like, do I just say things to them that tear them down or build them up? Think about that. Speak with people, not at them or about them. And that's like, don't gossip. Don't be talking, there again, down to people. Speak with people, have a conversation, right? Not at them and not about them. Practice empathy. And this has gotten me by a lot, is by empathizing in people and thinking about, well, they're acting like this has happened to them, why is this? Or somebody who goes into a business and they're at the cashier and something goes wrong and they start yelling at the cashier. Well, it's not really about the cashier. It's probably about whatever happened to them before they came in that day or some kind of stressful thing in their life going on. But practice empathy. So walk a mile in others' shoes. And I speak about this in a lot of my programs, is seeing things from the middle, not my side, your side, but from the middle. But walk a mile in the other person's shoes. How does it feel if I was walking in their shoes? Having earnest respect from others through respect-worthy behaviors. Earn respect from others through respect-worthy behaviors. I was just telling a young teenager yesterday that had a reaction, actually, was not being respectful. And I talked to him and I said, first we have to respect ourselves and then we respect others. And when we respect others, we are much more likely to receive respect from them. Now, sometimes when people got troubles, like we talked about earlier, when they have troubles from their past, they have a lot of hate, they have a lot of resentment, then they might not respect you, because guess what? They really don't respect themselves. Respect is a really important word. Respect yourself and respect others the way that you want to be respected. Consider others' feelings before speaking and acting. Did you know that words that come out of your mouth, stinky, nasty words, sometimes cannot be reeled back in, whether it's at your spouse or whether it's at your kids. So we have to think before we open our mouth. Treat everyone with dignity and courtesy. And guess what, y'all? Just these things, walk the talk. Think these things, do these things, walk in these things. Immediately, you'll see better reactions from other people in all your relationships, more or less your spouse, right? And this book is from Eric Harvey and Steva Venture. Like I said, I love things like this. All right, second thing is important to create your roadmap. All right, so let's say we're going on vacation. What are all the things we have to do when we go on vacation? We have to think, okay, let's see, where do we want to go? How are we going to get there? Where are we going to stay? What kind of things are around our hotel that we want to do? What do we want to eat? How much time will we spend here? How much time will we spend there? If you started out on a vacation and you did not stop and plan, what would happen? Probably everybody would be bickering and frustrated, trying to make decisions, off the cuff, right? It's important to plan a vacation. It's important to plan a party. What do you think when you're going to plan a party? You got to have a roadmap. You got to say, well, what day are we going to do it? Who are we going to invite? What kind of food are we going to have? And then you have to write it all out, and then you have to take action on each and everything in its particular order so that you have an awesome party. Everyone knows if you didn't plan the party and you just said, hey, y'all come on over. No, yeah, we could do that, but it's a different kind of party, right? All right. If you were a movie producer and you're going to produce a movie, you would have to have a script. You would have to have it written for the movie. You have to have the actors. You have to cast those actors. You have to have a budget to spend. You have to have your cameraman and all the things that help you make the movie. Nobody could start to make a movie without a script and then the actors to do it, right? And the same thing goes if you were making repairs at home. You got to count the cost, figure out what needs to be done and what you need, right? Building a house. All right, so how about your life? Have you started your life without a roadmap? Have you started your life with no roadmap? You don't know where you want to go. And maybe you knew where you wanted to go, but did you discuss that with your spouse so you could bring your thoughts together and you could be heading the same direction? Have you learned to support one another, to lift one another? So, what if you wanted to have a happily ever after in your marriage? Now, like I told you, I've been married over 40 years. I kind of hate to say that. I was saying 35 because it sounds like I'm younger, but you know what it brings to me being married 40 years? It brings to me a lot of experience. It brings to me a lot of hindsight. And we always see things better in the rear view mirror, right? Rather than just where we're going. So when you get married, what do you want in life? What kind of household do you want to have? Who's going to work and make the money? It used to be that the man made all the money, the male made the money and the female, worked in the house, took care of the kids, birthed the kids, cleaned, washed, cooked, shopped, ran kids around. Sometimes dad helped with those things. But in this day and time, very much, sometimes it's split. Both people work. So now who's taking care of the kids? Now who's doing the errands? Now who's taking care of the house? Now who's doing the cooking, cleaning, washing? Big question, huh? And those kind of things can cause trouble. Do you want to own a house or do you want to rent? Do you want to, are you getting your education still? Do you want to change jobs through the years to move up the ladder? Do you like to stay exactly where you're at? What kind of vacations do you want to take? What kind of neighborhood do you want to live in? Do you want to have children? How will you treat one another? Whose parents do you go to for holidays? How do you decide these things? And so it's important to have a roadmap. Begin with the end in mind. Where do I want to go? When we're young, I've been there. We don't think about where we're going. We just think about them in the moment. And some of us are more of an in the moment person. I'm an in the moment person, but I am a planner, but I'm an in the moment person. It's my most comfortable spot. And then you have those super planners who they plan too much, too many details. But it is important to have a plan and then don't sweat the small stuff, loosen up or whatever. But happily ever after can be achieved if you become aware of the needs, aware of the challenges, aware of where you want to go, and you start to create your roadmap. And that is something that I do. And I help you create a roadmap of where you want to go. The things you probably haven't thought of because I've already been there. I've already done that. And I know the importance of them. All right. So just going back to that, happily ever after and creating your couple's roadmap is really important. And I hope you'll share this. If you got the recording or you can get recording, be sure and share it with your spouse, because sometimes we're telling our spouse something and they might not get it the same way as if they watch it, themselves. All right. So the third thing I want to talk about today is personality styles and how personality styles, once you get married, can make a big difference in how you get along. Now, when we're dating, we put forth our best self and everything's fun loving. There's no stress because we're just dating, right? But when we get married, our true personality starts to come up. Those things from the first thing we talked about today, your past, stressors, frustrations, anger you may have, And some personalities express their frustrations more than others. But honestly, the ones who don't express them also need to go through these things because their problems, anger, and bitterness is internalized. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about personalities and as we get married and how those make a difference when we marry and we live in the same house. Some people are naturally easygoing. You know, you love to be around them because they never get bugged with you. They're just easy going. They're just easy people to live with. Some people are high strung. Now, yeah, if you're a high strung person, or if your spouse is a high strung person, then anything can tip them off. And so if there's stress at work, there's other things going on, you know, they're bothered about something, snap. And there's a fuss, there's a fight, and it's frustrating. What if you're the easygoing person and they're the high strung person? Whoa, I just don't want to fight, right? That can be a problem. And when we're aware that we have a challenge as a high strung person, I like to say you can learn to use the pause button. And that means you just stop for a minute before you lose your temper, because it is an ingrained thing that literally bubbles up. I mean, it boils quick. It's like a microwave. All right. Some people are a crock pot and their fuse is long, right? And some people are a microwave and boom. Some people are very positive minded. And so whatever's going on, they just take it in a positive way and they just keep going. But other people are critical. Maybe in a relationship, they start to criticize every little thing and they don't realize that they're doing it. It's kind of their nature. But there again, if you become aware that it's a challenge, then maybe you can tweak that and change that a little bit. But you know, you can't do anything for something that you're not aware that you're doing. Some personalities are very trusting. They trust everyone. And so they need someone in the relationship. You need someone in the relationship who has a little caution. So it's okay to be trusting, but you need a little caution to balance that. So often people get married and they are opposites. Opposites can be really challenging and really good at the same time, because opposites can create teamwork. Like, I'm not good at this, but you're good at that. And at the same time, it can create a lot of unhappiness, because opposite could be that one is a super people person, loves to be around people, bubbly, free, and the other person may be very constrained, very organized, focused, straight face, no fun. Do you know somebody like that? So if you're going to stay married for the long time, you have to learn to recognize that sometimes the frustrations of your spouse are not about you. They're about them. All right. How did I get that out of trusting? All right. Some people are very jovial, very happy, and they laugh at a problem. They laugh at a challenge and they just keep going. Some people are determined to move forward in their job. They are determined. And at home, if they're determined, they might be determined to get their way all the time. So sometimes determination, which is good at work, might not be good at home. You know, people are quick paced. They talk fast, they walk fast, and some people are more methodically paced. And so sometimes that could be a challenge. You know, get to the point in your story. They are telling all the details in the story slowly, taking their time, and the other spouse is fast paced. It can cause troubles. So let's look at, there are 4 personality styles. And this is what I'm certified with the John Maxwell team in doing, is teaching on communication styles. And I teach a class, it's called Communication Secrets for Couples. And in that, it teaches you to recognize your own personality style and your spouse's, and to learn that it's not always about you when there's conflict. Sometimes it's about them and about their top emotion and how they react to things. In the personality styles, we all have different talents. Just trust me, communication styles for couples is an awesome class that teaches you all about you and all about your spouse. And whatever your personality styles are, you can bring them together and work as a team instead of working against each other. So there's 4 styles. The guy on the motorcycle, he represents that determined style. He goes after the win. He likes to have a challenge in his life. And so if this person is married to a person who presents no challenge because they're super easygoing, it can be a good fit because one person doesn't fight. So when the other person has that outburst, the other person doesn't fight. But eventually, you know, we get tired of someone always coming at us or being fussy or whatever. So the person who's determined, they are great at work and they're moving forward in their work and they thrive on that. All right. The second style person are these people right here at around the table. They are freedom people. They're having a good time. They're enjoying life. They might not have plans for the afternoon. They may not be thinking about what they're doing tomorrow, but they love to be around people and they love to be at a party. Is that you? Or do you know somebody who is like that? Another personality style are the people who are servants. These people, there's a big party going on and they're the people who get up from the table and they start to clean up the dishes, take people's plates, put the stuff away and clean up. So while everybody else is still talking and having a good time together, they're cleaning up. And this is their natural self. And so this could be you. Maybe you're that servant type person and you're always helpful and you don't think anything about it. These people are very easy to get along with. And they're that person who usually says yes. So if you need help with something, you can always call them and they'll say yes. And then the last person here, she's drinking her orange drink, got her hat on, she's relaxing outside with her book. These people are more detailed people. They pay attention to the details. They like to read, they like to learn, they like to know the facts. They don't like to be around a lot of people. They really need their space and their quiet time. Now, if you're married to a person who needs their space and their quiet time, and you need to be right by their side, you need to be able to talk to them, have that time with them. And if they don't spend time with you, you feel like they don't care. Do you see how our differences can cause us troubles? So different personality styles coming together, often marrying in and being opposite, create big challenges. Well, what do you value most in life? In that same class of communication secrets that I teach, the personality styles and how to understand those, I also teach what you value most. And this is called motivators. There are things in life that motivate us. We don't really think about what motivates us. It just happens and we move forward. But when you take this assessment that I have, it actually teaches you or shares with you what your top motivators are. And you might not have ever thought of those. It may influence where you work. It may influence where you spend your money. It may influence how you spend your time. And these influencers motivate you or demotivate you. So let's look at them. First of all, some people are very charity minded. You know, if we're not charity minded, sometimes we're like, gosh, I feel really bad because, you know, I didn't give any time to charity last year. And then another person is always stepping in and helping somebody who needs some help with something. And this motivates them. This fills their soul. They like to help people. And guess what? God made the world where there's all different kinds of people and we all speak into different things. And if we all did the same things or were motivated by the same things, we would be robots, right? And so I'm going to share with you all these different ways of people and how they're motivated. So these people are motivated by charity. The next one is power. And there's got to be those people out there who are motivated by power, by position, by performance, and they strive to move forward. When we think about third world countries and the lack of maybe running water or safe water to drink, no one's motivated. That's a whole nother story, isn't it? No one's motivated to figure out how to get fresh water, to stop and think, and then to figure out, there we come up with the roadmap again, how to get there, how to get clean water. But anyway, people who are motivated by power, influence, position, they're always going to work very hard. They're usually that person with great determination, but having that position motivates them to do what it takes to get there. And then there's those people who are motivated by personal growth. They want to read everything, go to every seminar, continue to learn. And the simple thing of education helps them thrive in the world. It's like their purpose, their direction, they're learning new things and they keep on moving. So anything in personal growth, motivates them to move forward. Now, beauty around you. There are those people who love color. They love design. They love the flowers, the trees, the mountains, the beach. They love the view. I remember one time I had gotten a fire pit and I put it on my back deck. And, every time I would look out my kitchen window, I would look at that fire pit. It was really pretty. I didn't burn that fire pit very often, but the motivation I got just from looking at the fire pit, because I enjoyed the beauty of it. So people who are motivated by the beauty around them, color, pictures, nature, they probably like to go camping. They like to hike. They like to go on a trip to the beach and just sit outside and read a book, right? They're motivated by the beauty around them, and they notice the colors, the designs, and the things like that more than someone who that doesn't matter to. Like the person on personal growth, they might not even notice the beauty around them because they're thinking about what they would like to learn. The next area is this person needs good use of time and money. Now, if you're married to a person who this is one of their top values, and they might not even realize it, there again, these things are often learned from our parents. Just like the personality styles, those are God-given. It's like those are ingrained in us. You can see those in a 2-year-old. Our personality styles are how we were born. We were born with those. But what we value in life most often is grown by our parents and our mentors and whoever we were around. So good use of time and money. This motivator, they're going to go and they're going to get the best deals on a sell. They want to make sure they planned out their project they're working on, and they do first things first so they can make sure they use the best use of time and get it all done. Good use of time, money, and resources. And sometimes this can be annoying because they are too focused on good use of time, money, and resources. So you have to find a balance on there. There we go again with that awareness thing, right? But good use of time, money, and resources. Every person is useful. And when you look at this, people who are focused on charity, people who are focused on being driven and creating and powerful and leading, people who are growth minded and want to learn everything. That might be a scientist, right? They're always learning and checking out new things. People who love the beauty around them might be decorators, might be fashionistas, good time use of money, good time, money, and that might be bankers. It might be project managers. It might be wedding planners, right? But every person is useful, no matter what their personality style and no matter what motivates them. Everybody has talents. And what's important when we're talking about spouses is learning what's important to you, what's important to me, and then meeting in the middle. You know, we can't always have our way, right? And we have to learn to listen so that we can meet in the middle. All right, I'm going to tell you about the love languages. Now, my husband was just saying, we were just talking, and it's like, I give you a lot of information in this. And so if you actually got the recording, you can go back and watch it again. But I give you a lot of information because I want to pour into people. I want to help marriages last past that 50% divorce rate that is out there. And to do that, we have to get past ourselves. We have to be aware, and we have to pay attention to our spouse. Most of the time we're thinking about, what do I want? What's about me? And yeah, we got to think about ourselves, but we also have to think about the other person, because when you get married, you are partners. You got each other's back. And that also means you want to treat each other with kindness, and you want to do everything that you can to create that love and that unity and that bond, right? When you do that, everything else in life looks better, let me tell you. So first, we're going to look at the love languages, and every person has a different love language. And this is the language that speaks to them. So first, you're probably going to notice your love language, of course. And then you're going to go, oh, that's my spouse's love language. So I'm going to go through these and think about which one you are. All right. So first of all, you could be jotting these down too, if you'd like. First of all, words of affirmation. And here in the little fish thing, you see, you are, and it has all these words of affirmation. What happens when somebody speaks good, wholesome, positive words into you? They fill you up with things like, you are wonderful, you are magnificent, you are beautiful, clever, extraordinary, funny, remarkable. How does that make you feel? Well, to some of you, it might be like, nothing. But whenever somebody who has words of affirmation as their love language, filling their soul, filling them up with words that you mean, not words you don't mean, but words that you mean. Not only whenever you say these words to your spouse, does it enforce them in your mind, but it enforces in their mind that you love them and you care about them. So ways that you can do that are by encouraging them in whatever that they're doing, showing appreciation, maybe for the things they do, whether they're working full time and bringing a paycheck home, or a part-time paycheck, or they're helping out with the kids, or helping in the kitchen, or doing some of the errands. Whatever they do, you want to appreciate it. Words of affirmation actually mean a lot to everyone, not just this one love language. You want to empathize when things are going wrong, and you want to let them know that you care and you're listening. Listening attentively. This is a big one. Often we are listening with the intent of speaking because we're thinking about the next thing we're going to say. But when you are listening to your spouse, you have to purposely stop, look them eye to eye, and let them know that you are listening. And how can you do that? Sometimes you can repeat something back, not constantly, of course, but repeat something back that they said so that they know that you are listening attentively to them. Because if words of affirmation is their love language and you don't listen to them, it basically says you don't care about them. And to be honest, if somebody doesn't listen to me, whether it's somewhere else or at home, they don't, that's how I would feel. Like they don't care if they're not listening. So listening is caring. Love notes. So you could throw a love note in their lunch, leave one on the counter, put it in their pocket, love notes. Praise in front of others. Give them praise in front of others for something else they've accomplished or they've done. Main thing on this is you want to avoid criticism. So if you're a person who is naturally critical, you have to be aware, there's that word again, acknowledge that that is your style, and really try not to criticize what they do, because that literally is breaking down the barriers that you care about them. And the more you criticize and the more negative words you use, it just grows. So whatever you say, whatever you do, it grows. Don't talk down to them. All right. Words of affirmation. Next is, now this looks simple, right? Physical touch. Because does everybody like to be touched? No. Some people are kind of touchy. They don't like you to touch them. Some people are like, when they walk up, like they touch your shoulder, or they always got to be touching. And there's some people who do not want to be touched, and others do. Now, if your physical love language is being touched, then I lost my little thing here. Then it's important to sit close together, to spend time together, kisses, hugs, holding hands, so physical touch, spending time shoulder to shoulder, watching TV. These couples kind of lean on each other. Somebody's love language is touch, right? If you are that person who doesn't like to be touched and you are married to a person who does like touch, then there again, you have to be aware. You have to acknowledge that and figure out what kind of action you can take to spend a little time with them, sitting shoulder to shoulder, whatever you could tolerate, right? Because we are who we are. The physical touch is important. And if there is no touch, they start to feel like you don't love them. Another love language is receiving gifts. Now, these people love to receive gifts. What have you gotten me? And they can't wait to get in the package and open it up and see what you brought them. They love surprises. So that might mean not a big surprise. It could be little surprises, just little somethings. It doesn't have to be big. When we think about gifts, we think about big gifts. And to be honest, in this day and time, everything's too big. Weddings are extra gigantic. They can't be simple, and they're expensive. Everything doesn't have to be big, over the top, impress your neighbor. It doesn't have to be expensive. Little surprise gifts, little things do mean a lot. Loving gestures, little things matter. Like I said, expressing gratitude when you receive gifts. So if their love language is gifts and they like to give gifts, then they need you to say, oh, thank you. That was so nice of you, right? Maybe you're like, you shouldn't have done that. I didn't need you to get me nothing, but they need you to be receptive, because receiving gifts is important. And by golly, don't forget those birthdays, those Mother's Day, those Father's Day, those anniversaries. If receiving gifts is your partner's love language, make sure you don't forget the special dates. Hey, we all got alarms on our phones these days. Put an alarm on your phone like a day before or 2 days before, so you don't forget it. I mean, we're going to talk about deposits later, and it makes a big deposit in your relationship when you remember those special events. And be sure to have enthusiasm. There again, so you're like, I got him a birthday gift. I don't care anything about buying gifts. That's not important to you. But you got to have enthusiasm. Honey, look what I got you, right? Yeah, what we say sometimes in business, fake it till you make it. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. We don't fake love, right? But sometimes you have to fake what's important to your spouse so that they feel that you love them. All right, quality time. There are people who need quality time, and you know who they are, because they're like, we haven't spent any time together. You never have any time together with me. Where are you going, right? These people need time together. They might need conversations. They want to sit down and talk, go to a movie, go to dinner, just sit and watch TV together. What is quality time to you? So if that's not your love language, then you have to put your spouse on your schedule, right? And make sure that you spend time with them, uninterrupted, one-on-one time. Put down your phone. Don't keep looking at your text. Don't keep picking up your phone. Spending time with them, because that's what makes them feel important, is your undivided attention. Eat together. Make sure you have date nights, because life gets so busy. And if we just allow it to just roll and roll and roll like a hamster wheel, it starts going and doesn't stop. We have to purposely decide what we want in life. We have to purposely decide how we want to treat our spouse, how we'll spend time together, what we spend our money on, where we go on vacation, what we want our life to be, right? So date nights, purposely putting date nights on your calendar. And don't let too long go between. So I know even for my husband and I, like he is probably that style of if we're apart, the heart grows fonder. Now, I'm so fond of my spouse, okay? He is the best and he treats me so well. And that might be why I like him so very good. He treats me so well. But if I'm away on a trip, like I don't even think I'm in the moment and I don't even think about at home once I go out. I'm busy doing something else. Now, if I don't have anything else to do, I'm thinking about home because I love my home life. But if I'm busy with something else, I'm in the moment, I don't even think about that. I don't want to say I don't think about my spouse, but I don't think about home. I just think about where I am in the moment. So sometimes we get so busy with work, we get busy with our children, even at home. We get so busy with all the things that just keep us going and going and going, and we forget to stop. Purposely deciding not only when we'll take a vacation, but purposely deciding on a date night or when we'll take time together. Also, family nights are important. Stopping and having a family night, whether it's every Friday night or if it's once a month or twice a month or whatever. But you know, the things you want in life, you have to do them on purpose and you have to plan them. All right, so back to the people who need quality time. Don't let it go too long between because separation just causes division and they need to spend time together. All right, like I said, cut the distractions, phones, kids. All right, and I think this is the last one, acts of service. This love language is acts of service. And so when you do things for them, acts of service, it might not be your natural style, like helping them tidy up. Maybe picking up a few things from the store on the way home, doing those errands. You know, the house hasn't gotten vacuumed and they haven't got the house clean. Now, this is from a female view, right? And you're like, honey, what can I help you with? So acts of service. Deciding you're going to take them out on a dinner date. That's an act of service, right? According to what is important to your spouse, acts of service. And this is kind of an easier one because it doesn't have to cost anything, right? Help them with chores, maybe a project they're working on, help them with the kids, help with dinner. Now, those are a lot like from a female's view. Can't help that because I'm a female. But you know, what does a man want help with? Well, he wants dinner at night. Maybe my husband and I are working on a rental property and we've been painting together. And so I go with him, I put on my FUD duds and I go and paint with him and help paint. And so we're spending time together, right? But acts of service. And so that's an act of service because whatever normally you wouldn't do, but you step out and help with on your spouse, that's acts of service. And sometimes that's important to them for them to know that you care, and that's their love language. But you know what? If you say you'll do something, it's very important to keep your word. Now, remember that you have a worksheet. And when you print out that worksheet, you can sit down with your spouse and you can talk about these different things. Memory maker, what began your romance? I sit there and talk, reminisce a little bit, write down a few things and think about that. The second thing on your sheet is how long have you been together? So you're thinking about where you met, what brought you together, what did you like about each other, and how long have you been together? What's the thing about your spouse that you love the most? You know, when you first met them, there was something that you loved the very most about them. It attracted you towards them. It probably wasn't just physical. It was probably something about them. And sometimes as we've been married for a while, we start to forget what that was. And all the nitty gritty little things in between each and every day, the stresses, the frustrations cause us to not look at them the same way. It's important to keep looking at your spouse and remembering them what you loved about them. What's the thing that bugs you the most? Yeah, we all got it. something that bothers us. Some of us, things bother us more than others. But that one thing that really bugs you, maybe they could work on it a little bit, or maybe they can't help it. But if you're aware of it and you acknowledge it, take a little action on it, who knows, right? And what do you enjoy doing together? Sometimes when we get married, we start to realize that we don't have as much in common as we thought we did. But what do we have in common? What do we have in common? What brings us together? It's okay to do other things too, but you always want to have something that brings you together, things that you agree on, things that you work on well together. And the things you don't work on well together, have somebody else do, right? All right. And a reminder that you can purchase this recording if you'd like to have it for yourself and for your spouse to listen to. All right. So let's review. It's important to live in the now. We're getting ready to get to the last one. To live in the now, let go of your past things that really bring you problems. It's important to be aware and pay attention to your personality styles, what works well for you in your personality styles, and what causes problems in that area. And have you stop to create your roadmap for your happily ever after? Have you stopped to think, what do we want and how we come together with that? And that's what I share in a class that's coming up soon. Find your love languages. Speak to each other, acknowledge each other in your love languages. And we're getting ready to start on the fifth thing, and that's deposits. All right. Somebody works in our family and makes money, right? And when we deposit that money into the bank, we have that good, full, positive feeling. It's payday. We are happy about it. But what happens when the bills are paid and there's things that come in that we didn't plan on and they withdraw from our account, and the end of the month comes, we look at our account and we barely have enough money for groceries? That's called a withdrawal, right? Well, when we look at our relationship, emotional deposits and emotional withdrawals can keep us together, or they can cause total separation. So I want you to think about this in the same way you think about money being deposited into an account. When you are using encouraging words, lifting up your spouse, speaking in their love language, being aware maybe where you're challenging and frustrations that maybe you bring into your relationship, you're using encouraging words, you create friendship, you create value, you like to be around one another. And that's what I like to say, not only do you love me, to my husband, do you like me still? Because am I likable? Because if you're not likable, that might mean you're hard to live with. And you're on the withdrawal side, and maybe you're using destructive words. Maybe you anger easily, or you're talking down to your spouse. These things cause division in marriage. So when you can stop and understand how personalities can bring you together or cause separation, love languages, maybe you both have those same love language. Now that works well. But these things bring you together or they separate you. So I want you to stop and think, are you depositing into your spouse's account? Do you use positive words? Do you encourage them? Do you say, I appreciate you, honey. Thank you for bringing home your paycheck. Or thank you for paying all the bills and providing, whether it's a home or an apartment or wherever you live, living with an attitude of gratitude and being thankful for things. Or do you use destructive words that tear down and break down the walls of love, y'all? If you use destructive words and you talk down or you're very critical, you may not be meaning to do that, but you may be causing division. And let me say, with over 40 years of marriage, it is the fact that we naturally both have the same beliefs, the same value systems. We're not just alike, but we're enough alike and we enjoy enough things together that it causes unity and we appreciate one another. We lift each other up, we encourage and support one another. And those kind of things create friendship, unity, and continue the love, because the love you have at the beginning of your relationship is not always the same kind of love that you have at the end of your relationship. Well, it's not the end, right? But the same kind of the love that you have now in your relationship. Honestly, your love and appreciation for one another deepens through the years if you are kind and thoughtful, courteous, and respectful of one another. And so now that you are aware, and if you acknowledge challenges that you do have, then you can take action and create the roadmap to that marital bliss that you want, the happily ever after. But no one else can do that for you. You have to do it. So looking at happily ever after, I have several programs. One is Happily Ever After, the Roadmap, and it's a course that you can take. And when you take this course, you go through it at your own time, and you need to do it with your spouse. But there's no one else involved, just you. So there's privacy in that, right? And so you print the materials, you go through the things little by little. You might do 2 or 3 of them and do them on a date night where you sit down together. It might be every night for 5 or 6 days, or it might be one night a week. On a certain night, you sit down and do that. By stopping and creating what you want in your life, learning to meet in the middle and look at the other person's point of view, figure out what makes them happy. Because when I'm doing that, and when my spouse is doing that, then we're coming together in the middle. I see their side, I see his side, he sees my side. We're thoughtful of one another. We like each other better. So creating that roadmap, here's what you get in that. You learn to identify your dreams and your goals. You probably haven't thought about them or brought them together. Sometimes they're different and you have to figure out how to compromise and collaborate and come to an agreement on that. We can't always have our way. We have to remember that. We have to find what we have in common, and we have to grow those things that we have in common. Also in this plan, often it is, will you have kids or you won't have kids? How do you want to raise your kids? What kind of holidays, what kind of church, what kind of beliefs do you have? If you have beliefs, I happen to be, I believe in God. I believe that God created us and brings forth all kinds of things in our lives, sometimes to move us forward so that we will be closer to Him. So what kind of beliefs do you have? Do you believe opposite? Your personality styles, all the things we talked about today, bringing those things together so that you can come together and create a roadmap so that you have a better chance of creating your happily ever after. All right, so that course is actually a $197 value, and I want you to think about the price of coaching or counseling. Usually I think it's really usually about $150 for 1 hour, where you go in and you share all your thoughts and your challenges and they start to listen, but it takes weeks to come together on that. And sometimes you need counseling if you have some really rough stuff in your past and you need to get past it. But sometimes you could start out with something like this where you're creating your plan and then maybe later learning the communication secrets for couples. And then if you're still having trouble, get counseling so that you can learn to get to the real dirt that's been hiding under the rug, right? Sweep it under the rug. But the price of counseling or coaching is at least $150 an hour every week for months. That amounts up into a lot of money. So let's go back and look at what we did today. We learned to live in the now, let go of the past. We talked about how personality styles bring us together or cause challenges, how important it is to create your happily ever after roadmap, just like you do a vacation, and how important love languages are. And then we looked at making deposits into the emotional bank of our spouse. How do we make emotional deposits? And for every withdrawal, you need a couple of emotional deposits. There's a person that I know who always is grumbling and griping, and they are always telling you what is wrong, what's not right. And guess what? They never make any deposits. They never say what is good or that they appreciate you. They only tell you what they don't like, they don't like, they don't like. And guess what? You get tired of hearing that. You get tired of, like, you like the person, but you're like, you have no reason just to hang around for a long time. Anyway, they wouldn't even realize they're doing that because they are unaware of it. But habits you can bank on are creating deposits, emotional deposits in your relationship. All right. So I'm not going to go through all that again, but guess what? Price of coaching and counseling is around, $150, $200. Guess what? You can create your roadmap to success for just $37. And it's just simply by going through the course, sitting down together, and spending time together. You become more aware of the things that hold you together, bring you together. You start to like one another better. You work through your frustrations. And then after that, I have a class. It's called Communication Secrets for Couples. The biggest challenges people have is the lack of communication, assuming that you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. And I can tell you, as well as my husband and I get along, we think opposite sometimes. Sometimes our little disagreements are literally, we're saying the same thing in two different ways. All right. So learning to communicate with people, it not only helps you with your spouse, but it also helps you at work. It helps you understand your kids. It helps you understand your mother-in-law, everyone around you. Communication secrets for couples. All right. So, but we start out with the roadmap to happily ever after. Happily ever after. I can't talk. Happily ever after, a couple's roadmap. And it's just $37. All right. So if you don't find that yet, you will be seeing that soon on an email. If you have joined my list, I'll send that out so that you can know when that's open. And it's a brand new class that's coming up. All right. My name is Connie Durham. I thank you for watching, and I hope this has helped you, and I hope you'll connect with me again. God bless.